Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. No cats today. Can't have a cat on every video. But I will keep you updated. So far he's doing good stuff. That's what I'm pleased about. He's having his lunch at the moment. What was I going to say? Right, this I have one coelogyne, large one, that hasn't been repotted since I got it, but I haven't had it long. It was got last year and it came from Arthur at Burnham's, and it hadn't been long potted up because it was a division, one of his divisions off a large plant, and it's now a large plant. So that one doesn't need doing. It can stay in its pot that it's currently in. So this is the only coelogyne that hasn't been repotted since I got it. And with coelogynes, timing is of the essence. They don't like root disturbance, generally speaking. There might be some that don't mind so much and others that totally object. I had one once that I repotted and it did nothing for 2 years. No new roots, no new growths, it didn't die. It did eventually, but not as part of that. It was part of the move around here. Well, and heat around the other place didn't do it any good. Yes, so timing is of the essence. So I have probably one of my, I class it as a very small coelogyne. It doesn't grow, it can grow into a big plant, but not a, it can grow this way, but not so much this way. It's quite a short plant as coelogynes go anyway. So we'll have a look at it. We're going to repot it. So we are starting work again out here on the grounds that the weather's broken. It's now cool enough during the days that I don't need the door open. So far so good. We're expecting rain at the weekend. Rain equals cloudy, cloudy equals cooler. So I'm not running the fan 24/7 anymore. I'm turning it off as it heads into later evening, and then turning it on again in the morning as it starts to warm up. I've turned it off while we do the repotting because the camera sat right next to it. You wouldn't hear a thing. Right, so I'll drop the camera down. As this is a relatively small plant, I will also zoom in. Let's get the screen up somewhere where I can see it. There's me zoom. There we go. Now I shall have to move the camera, won't I? Somewhere like that. No, I've zoomed in too much. So excuse me fiddling around like this, but if I don't get this right, you won't see a lot. And I'm being silly here. If I move to this end of the bench, then I'm closer to the camera and you'll see a lot more, won't you? Duh. So the label on this says Coelogyne orchracea, which it isn't. It was renamed many years ago and it's now nitida. And I will show you why I wish I hadn't watered this now if I knew I was going to repot it, but I didn't at the time. When I say timing is of the essence, that's what I'm talking about. Can I get that to focus? At the moment, can I hell? So I'm trying to tap the screen. There we go. Those new growths have lots of tiny little new roots. So now is a good time. They haven't lost their growing tips yet, despite being mainly in air. They're just touching the media. So we shall see what we can do. Now this did have 3 new growths, but this one had something very wrong with it, so I effectively chopped it. So I took the leaves off. So that probably won't grow any new roots now. And round the back of the plant, we've got a very strange little growth here that's covered in mealybugs, but it's going to come off simply because we've got some buried bulbs at the back here, which you know, I'd rather not have those. The trouble is, at the moment, all the bulbs on this have got leaves, except for that tiny little one there. We'll see what it's like when it comes out of the pot. But we must be very careful of those tiny little new roots. So I don't know how long this has been in the pot. Should have got my tray really, but it's only a small plant. Yeah, see, this new growth here has lots of new roots. That's coming off. It's coming off of the bottom of this bulb, which is down here, completely buried. And that's the start of the plant there. So yeah, there's a lot of mushroom smells going on here, and this bark has been forced in between the bulbs for some strange reason. Somebody's been a bit overzealous with packing it in. I don't mean packing it in, not doing it. I mean packing it in as in pushing it in firm. It's quite small bark as well. It's very wet, so I think it may have been in the pot a while and it's holding its moisture, because I know when these were last watered, and this shouldn't still be wet. This should be well on its way to drying out. So I'm going to take that bulb off there. That's the start of the plant. Now that still means that this bulb here is going to get partially buried, but if I take that bulb off, then this one's going to fall off and I lose a new growth, or I separate it away from the plant, which I don't want to do. So that's as much as I can take off. I'm going to get a bit more of this stale bark off, because it is a bit smelly. See, it's been jammed down in between the bulbs. It's not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. The thing is, at Burnham's, when they do, when they split up some of their specimen plants, they have, I don't know what you'd call them, something like agency staff. They have people that come in to help, that are not necessarily got the same sort of skills as Arthur and Sarah might have, although I can't see Sarah actually doing a session of repotting, quite honestly. I suppose she might do. She might actually muck in, I don't know. But being the boss, you know, she should be supervising and you know, and doing her thing on the phones and stuff, and all the mail orders. That's what I'd have thought anyway, but it's none of my business. Right, so what we've got then is we've got these delicate little roots on these two new growths, which you can see a little bit better now. There we go. Okay, so there's lots of them. The roots that are left behind are what I call old tired roots. They're not dead, but they're not growing. And obviously this particular Coelogyne has very fine roots, probably matching up with the size of the plant if you think about it. So that's it, that's what's going to get potted. It's going to go in a much smaller pot than what it was in, basically because I don't want it staying wet. I've got a feeling that's how I lost the last one. And we'll have the bottom of the pot full of reasonable sized bark, crocking, which these roots can sit on and touch, because they're not growing, so they're not going to go into it. Only these new ones are going to get down in the pot. And we do, as I say, we do have 3 new growths here, so you know, we've got this one here and these 2 here. So I will have the plant at a very slight angle. Oh, look at those flipping mealybugs under that leaf. I should have seen those because of the marks on the leaves, the pale patches. Anyway, they're gone now. Keep my eye on these. If they get on the new leaves, then you know the damage is permanent. And this leaf is stuck to the one next to it. There'll be a reason for that, possibly. And this one's uncurling. No, if there is a reason, I can't see it. There's no bugs there. So it's just unfurling. That's okay then. Right, so that's it. I shall have a clear up, and that's all I'm taking off. I'm not snipping roots or anything. As I said, these roots are old and tired, but they're not dead. I would cut them off if they were dead. And then we'll rely on the 3 new growths and all of these nice little new roots to get down in the pot and establish a really good root system. And then this plant should get going. As I said, the last one wasn't doing bad, and then it just gave up. So I thought we'd try it again, because I do like the blooms a lot. Right, as usual, I'll tidy up, get pot sorted out, get some media, and I'll be back. Right, I really should have gone and got my tray really, but the bother factor set in and I couldn't be. So we've got some pretty chunky stuff in the bottom here. It's a relatively shallow air cone pot. So there'll be air getting right up through, plenty of drainage holes, plus the air cone itself pushing up. So we should get air around the bottom of the pot quite readily, which will help that section of the pot dry much quicker. Because for an amount of time, there are no roots in it. Yeah, so there's nothing to absorb any moisture. And then I've got a couple of bags here. This one is a bag of pre-mixed stuff that I've used before. So it's all sorts. It's got some small bark, it's got some bigger bark, it's got some bits of perlite, it's got bits of moss in it. And it's been mixed, it's been used for many things, and then there's leftover bits, and the leftover bits have ended up being just thrown in this bag, and they become a random mix, something that I possibly couldn't recreate if I tried. Now I don't really want sphagnum in here, but the small amounts that are there, most of which I can pick out anyway, won't matter, they're just too small. I certainly don't want any large quantities, because I don't want this staying wet. I want this to dry quickly, especially as the main root system on it is old and tired and probably doesn't absorb much, if anything. Could do. Who knows? So that'll do. So that's a mix of medium to small bark. There's some seedling bark in there. There's some perlite, and there's some of my pumice. So it's quite a little mix there. And we'll put some of that on top of there for the roots to sit on. That's the old roots. And I want to make sure that, let's see if we get a handful of them. What I want is some quite small stuff to go around the base of the plant. So that's this bit here, yeah? The rest of it is for the rest of this. Now, this goes against my normal process because this plant is wet, yeah? Normally I want a dry pot, dry media and a dry plant, and that way the media will get in between all of these roots. I'm going to have to do some work to achieve that this time, because the media is just going to stick to the roots. It won't be sticking to the pot, at least that's dry. So we'll get that sat in there. And we want it, it's got to go up against the back of the pot. And at the back of the pot there won't be any new root growth, so we can put larger bark down there. There won't be anything going on there really. And we wouldn't want that bit to stay wet. And then we push the plant back against it, checking that our 3 new growths are all roughly the same depth as far as their roots are concerned, which doesn't mean the plant's at a slight angle, like that. And then we carefully start putting some media in. We'll have to put it in a little bit at a time because it's wet. And while I'm wiggling, trying to get this media down, we will be being incredibly careful not to hit the tips off of those little roots. They're precious. It's not bad. It's not bad. Watering, I'm going to take those two big bits off because I want small stuff around the base of the plant where those roots are. So by taking the big bits out, we end up with something suitable. This is mostly seedling bark that's going around the base of the plant, which is quite fine, quite small, and hopefully those roots will get in there quite quickly. No, we want seedling bark, we don't want dust. That'll do. So the root tips are all in something. They're all in some media. And hopefully they will grow on quite quickly now. Just checking. The only thing I've got that I'm not happy with, I'm just pushing this down as a reason. The reason being that the plant and therefore the media are quite high in the pot, which means when I water it, a lot of the water is going to run off the sides and take some of the media with it. Having pushed it down, the media went down and the plant didn't, so we now need to top it up again. That'll do. That'll do. Now those roots are coming into contact with media for the first time. The one at the back was actually in media. They've grown a little bit longer than these two at the front. The two at the front basically were in the air. So this is the first time they've come across media. And hopefully they will get going now. They will sense that they've got something to grow into and push on. That's my hope anyway. Now I'm going to do a new label for this because, as I said, I know this label's wrong. For somebody buying the orchid, the name is less important, I suppose, I don't know. But Sarah does a pretty good job with the labels. I mean, this says Coelogyne orchracea, it should say nitida. Pure white petals with yellow and orange patterned lip. Spring, that means it blooms in the spring, it's in code. Fragrant, comes from India. Cool, minimum 10 degrees. Yeah, and it looks like there's a 25 there. Perhaps that's the maximum because this is a cool grower. And then it's got the website address. So there's quite a lot crammed onto that small little label. Some useful stuff there. So, but I'd rather just have my label with just the name on it in much bigger letters than that I can see farther back. Right, so there's some water here, which has got a low level of feed in it. So. It's what's left from watering my mounts earlier, and I didn't water all of them. I only watered those that are done. Well, I say daily, but that's starting to change now with the change in the weather. Daily may be a little bit too frequent for a couple of them. I mean, there are some totally bare rooted ones that still need that level of watering. Watering's just moved the media a bit, so we just put that back where it was, and that's more than enough water to keep that going for a bit and hopefully get those roots moving. So there we are, job done, and that's the only Coelogyne that needed a repot. So that's the last one. That'll be the list will now be updated to show that that's not waiting for a repot. It was unknown when it was last done, that's the problem. Now it'll get updated with the date, today's date, to show when it was repotted. And yeah, hopefully that will push on now. It's not a bad plant. It's the main reason I've got it, because I like the blooms, pop up, coming up. So, you know, and they are fragrant. The fragrance is not pleasing to everyone. I'm easy going with it. I wouldn't say it's up in my favourite fragrances, and it's not the worst I've had. But there's a little tinge to it that takes the edge off of it, in my view. But everybody perceives fragrances differently, you know. So anyway, that's that little job done, and as I said, we are starting a bit of work. There is some still to do. Not the best time of year, some would say. Coming up to autumn, I suppose. Yeah, August is nearly over. I think September is officially the meteorological autumn starting. But autumn, as far as, you know, the leaves turning and you know, leaves falling and all that, that's getting later and later as the weather changes, weather patterns. That's those trees that haven't dumped their leaves because of the constant heat waves and lack of rain. Some of which have given up already. So that's not autumn, that's survival. Different thing altogether. Okay, so there we go, that's that one done. Hopefully the timing is good and those roots will get down into the media and the plant will keep going. So say these new growths are pushing on, the leaves are opening, and yeah, must be a trait of the plant, the two leaves sticking together like that until the plant gets to a certain size, and then they probably let go of each other. But yeah, they're all sticky, and they haven't got buds, but they've been unstickied now. There we go. And yeah, thanks for dropping by and everything. And the affiliate stuff, I've put it on hold at the moment because I probably need the best part of a day to do what I want to do, to get the whole thing rolling. And you know, I won't say I can't spare that day at the moment, but I don't want to. I don't want to spare it at the moment. It's a big job that I've got to do, getting it all going, which I will do, but it's coming in the future. I won't even say in the near future. It might even be tomorrow, but I'm not saying. I'll get on with it, and again, I'll keep you posted as and when I do something. And then we'll give it a try for real, where I actually, you know, do some promotions. My other channel, the Gardening and Bonsai channel, actually qualifies as well. I hadn't thought about that. So I will actually join the affiliate program on the other channel as well, because quite honestly, I buy more stuff for the other channel than I do for this one. Because I've got all my stuff for this one. I rarely buy pots, I rarely buy media, I buy chemicals, but I could count them as, you know, gardening chemicals as well. They can be used outside as well as in. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. And in the meantime, thanks for dropping by. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.